You put two guys in a room and who walks out?
What's up, guys? How we doing?
How's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing all right.
Why you guys in? But
Hey, I'm not gonna do this interview. You don't want to do it? No, because it's gonna be an Aspinall fest. I'm not gonna.
Jon Jones has always been a name that sparks chaos in MMA. For years, he's been called the greatest fighter to ever step foot in the octagon. But right now, his comeback story is turning into something far messier. After announcing his retirement, then denying it, then promising a return at the White House of all places, Jones is under fire for one reason: avoiding Tom Aspinall. Critics, legends, and even fans are asking the same question. How can you claim to be the GOAT if you're running from the most dangerous man in your division? Today, we're diving deep into Jon Jones's controversial return, the accusations of ducking, and whether his legacy as the greatest of all time is starting to crumble. Back in mid-2025, Jon Jones stunned the MMA world when he said he was retiring. After just one defense of his heavyweight title, Jones claimed he was stepping away, leaving fans wondering if the most dominant fighter in UFC history had finally hung up the gloves. But months later, Jones completely flipped the script. At the MTV Video Music Awards of all places, he revealed that he's not retired.
I interviewed Tom Aspinall in London. He wants to fight Jon Jones. He thinks he'll beat Jon Jones.
Yes, he does. I love that. And a young, aggressive, talented heavyweight, that he actually wants to fight all the best. The problem in this business is you have guys that say a lot of things publicly, but behind the curtains don't mean it. Don't really want these fights. Tom Aspinall is not that guy. Tom Aspinall wants to fight all the best in the world.
He told reporters he's still training 5 days a week, still enrolled in the UFC's drug testing pool, and still hungry for competition. Jones' words: "I am not retired. I'm training every day. I'm still in the pool. I'm preparing for my next chapter." So why retire in the first place? Many believe it was never a genuine retirement. It was a strategic move, a way to buy time, to hold leverage, and most importantly, to avoid the one fight the fans demanded: Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall. One of the strangest twists in UFC history is the announcement of a fight card on the South Lawn of the White House in 2026. Yes, you heard that right. The UFC is literally building a cage on presidential grounds for a showcase event. Jon Jones has been strongly linked to this card, with Dana White hinting that Jones wants his comeback fight to be part of that historic night. Jones himself said, "It's up to the boss, but I'm training for the White House." Now, on paper, this sounds huge. Jon Jones fighting at the White House in what could be one of the most watched MMA events in history. But critics see it differently. They argue that Jones is stalling, using this once-in-a-lifetime spectacle as a shield to avoid real competition now. Instead of facing Aspinall in the near future, he's kicking the can down the road, gambling that by 2026 the matchup may no longer matter. Before we dive into the details, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Here's the heart of the controversy: Tom Aspinall. The British heavyweight has risen like a rocket, becoming one of the most complete fighters in the division's history. Fast hands, explosive takedowns, slick submissions, and the ability to finish fights in seconds. Aspinall is the real deal, and when Jones first moved up to heavyweight, this was the fight everyone wanted. GOAT versus the new king. But instead of stepping up, Jones avoided the matchup. He took a fight with Cyril Gane instead, and after winning, immediately pulled out of a unification bout with Aspinall. By retiring, Jones sidestepped the showdown entirely. For fans, this felt like a betrayal. Jon Jones had always been the fighter who claimed he would take on anyone, anytime. But when faced with the biggest threat of his career, he disappeared. It's not just fans calling Jones out. Some of the biggest names in MMA history have weighed in. Daniel Cormier, Jones's longtime rival, put it bluntly: "If you're the greatest, you go fight him. Period." Coming from Cormier, who has shared the cage with Jones twice, this criticism carries weight. Matt Brown, the veteran welterweight, said, "Even if Jon isn't scared, it looks like ducking, and perception is everything in this sport." Dominic Reyes, who nearly dethroned Jones at light heavyweight, went further: "Smug, arrogant, and dishonest. That's what this is." He told the fans he was done, but he's still hanging around, playing games. And of course, Chael Sonnen, never one to hold back, compared the situation to WWE, scripted drama without the kayfabe. Sonnen argued that Jones is turning MMA into a circus act, dodging fights while selling hype. When the legends are lining up to question your credibility, that's a sign your legacy is under fire. Meanwhile, Tom Aspinall isn't chasing Jones anymore. He's moved on. Aspinall has called the talk of Jones returning boring and false hope. He said he doesn't care if Jones comes back because the heavyweight division has already passed him by. For Aspinall, the focus is on defending his title against Cyril Gane at UFC 321 and building his own reign, not waiting for a ghost of a fight that may never happen. This is devastating for Jones's narrative. The one man he needs to beat to validate his heavyweight run doesn't even care about him anymore. Aspinall isn't begging for the fight, he's dismissing it entirely. Of course, Dana White sees things differently. For the UFC president, Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall is still the biggest money fight in heavyweight history. He continues to float the idea of making it happen, whether at Madison Square Garden for UFC 322 or on the White House lawn in 2026. White knows Jones is a draw. He knows Aspinall is the future, and he knows the sport needs this fight. But even Dana can't force Jones into the cage if he doesn't want it. Behind the scenes, UFC brass are likely frustrated. They can sell Jones versus Aspinall for tens of millions, but Jones's refusal to engage puts the entire plan on shaky ground. This brings us to the big question: Jon Jones's legacy. For years, Jones has been the undisputed GOAT. His dominance at light heavyweight, his ability to beat legends like Shogun Rua, Lyoto Machida, Daniel Cormier, and Alexander Gustafsson, all of that is etched in history. But greatness isn't just about what you've done, it's also about what you didn't do. And if Jones ends his career without ever facing Tom Aspinall, many will argue that he avoided the toughest fight of his life. Is he still the GOAT if he ducked the most dangerous heavyweight of his era? Or does his legacy now come with an asterisk? The fan reaction has been brutal. On social media, the narrative is split right down the middle. Hardcore Jones fans argue that he doesn't owe anyone anything. He's already proven himself, but the louder voices are the critics, saying he's a coward, a manipulator, and a fighter who carefully protects his image rather than testing his limits. Even UFC forums and Reddit threads are dominated by memes about Jones ducking Aspinall. And in today's fight game, perception often matters more than reality. Once the label of ducker sticks, it's hard to shake off. Here's where speculation runs wild. What would happen if Jones did fight Aspinall? Could his elite wrestling and fight IQ neutralize Aspinall's speed and power? Or would the younger, faster, hungrier heavyweight finally end Jones's reign of dominance? Analysts are split. Some believe Jones's skill set is tailor-made to handle Aspinall, dragging him into deep waters, grinding him out, and reminding the world why Jones is considered the best ever. Others think Aspinall is simply too explosive, too athletic, and too well-rounded to be denied. This is why the fight matters. Not because of money, not because of hype, but because it answers the single biggest question in heavyweight history. The heavyweight division is moving forward with or without Jones. Aspinall is defending against Cyril Gane. New contenders are rising. By the time Jones is ready to fight again, if he even does, the landscape may have completely changed. In fact, by 2026, we could see new names holding the belt, making Jones's comeback feel less like a showdown with the present and more like a nostalgia act. If Jones waits too long, he risks fading into irrelevance. He'll always be remembered as a legend, but not as the man who conquered the next generation. So here we are. Jon Jones, the greatest of all time in the eyes of many, is facing the biggest fight of his career, except it's not inside the octagon. It's in the court of public opinion. If he faces Tom Aspinall and wins, his legacy is sealed forever. If he avoids it, no matter what else he does, he'll always carry the stain of unfinished business. The question is simple. Is Jon Jones protecting his legacy or destroying it? And that's where I'll leave it to you guys. Do you believe Jon Jones will ever face Tom Aspinall, or is this fight dead forever? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's see where the MMA community really stands. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest breakdowns.
Thanks for watching. See you in the next round.